Hi there, I'm Peter Millard and this is 10 Minute Workshop, where 10 minutes in the workshop is never enough, it's never 10 minutes and it's never 10 minutes wasted. In this week's workshop I'm continuing with the gift idea theme and we're going to be making a table lamp with electricity and everything. Shocking. It's coming up next. So yeah, we're making a table lamp this week, and at the risk of stating the obvious, it will require you to do a little bit of electrical work, to twist a few wires together, not actually twisting wires together, to make some connections into a plug and also into the lamp. Again, at the risk of stating the obvious, if you're not comfortable doing this, don't do it. It is perfectly legal and it's perfectly legitimate for you to do this. This is not a fixed appliance, it's a table lamp. It is no more complicated than wiring a plug. It is in fact exactly like wiring a plug, because that's what we're going to be doing, and making some connections into a terminal block. But again, if you're not comfortable doing that, don't do it. Get somebody else to do it for you. I've been raiding the scrap bin once again for little bits of birch plywood. We've got 5 bits of 18mm 3/4 inch birch ply. These are 120mm by 160, so that's just under 5 inches by about 6.5 or thereabouts. And I've got 5 of those. We also have a length of curly cotton covered cable and a 3 amp UK spec plug. We've got a lamp holder and a little brass lamp extension. These are widely available. Links to all this stuff in the description below. We've also got a little bit of Meranti, which was a piece that was sort of cut in half for me, and I've cleaned it up with a hand plane. So one of the first things I want to do here, I want to choose a top piece, and that's got quite a nice grain to it. So that's going to be our top, and we'll put that to one side, and then we also need a bottom piece. We'll have that as well. Again, it's all got really nice clean ply layers all around it, no voids or anything nasty. So that leaves us with 3 centre sections, and we're just going to take a ruler and give ourselves a centre mark. Clamp on one corner, on the other, and then with a reasonably wide drill bit, I think this is a 16mm, we're just going to drill a hole all the way through those 3. Yeah. Probably should have put something under that. I'm using a 35mm Forstner bit to bore a wide hole in the base, and a 10mm spade bit to give a nice neat hole in the top. Now I'm carefully drilling a cable access hole through the side of the base, turning the drill through 90 degrees as we go to help keep me straight and plumb. Okay, so after that we've got our top with a fairly narrow hole in it. We've got the 3 middle bits, so we've got a top and a top middle bit, if you like, and then we've got 2 middle bits and a base which has a big hole drilled in it, and also a little cable access hole going through sideways. What we're going to do, we're going to glue those up, a 2 and a 3, just with PVA glue and clamps. While the glue sets, I'm cutting the Meranti into the smaller pieces that I'll need for this project. Okay, so we've got our little blocks of plywood all unclamped, not looking too bad. We're just going to take these over to the miter saw just to clean up the edges a little bit, make sure they're both the same size, identically as well. Okay, well that's pretty good. So what I want to do now is I just want to roll the saw over a little bit and just do a very slight angled cut, a bevel cut on here, just to give the lamp base a little bit of shape. So now what I want to do is just separate these with some end grain hardwood. Just the same sort of stuff that we did for our coasters. But because I want end grain all the long way along, we've got to miter some little pieces. I'm using a backing board and double-sided tape to make these cuts safely. So with some careful cutting, there's a continuous layer of end grain between the top and bottom sections of the lamp base, all glued in place and clamped up tight. With the adhesive set, I'm cleaning up the glue squeeze with an orbital sander, then finishing off with a small stroke random orbital. So I'm just going to use a beeswax finish on this. No particular reason not to use Osmo other than the drying time is significantly longer, and obviously the lamp doesn't need to be sort of water resistant in any way. Better hope it doesn't need to be anyway. I also find that beeswax brings out the flat grain of the birch ply nicer, even nicer than Osmo, I think. And of course it brings up the ply layers beautifully as well. After a final buffing of the wax, we can thread the cable up through the inside of the lamp, securing the base of the lamp extension collar in place, then adding the threaded brass tube. Alright, so it's time to wire this up. The little base has had a couple of hours just to soak in a little bit. We'll apply a bit more wax to that later on. We're going to wire up the lamp holder, and again, it goes without saying, I'm wiring this to the current UK and European standards, the colours of the cables, all that sort of thing, very specific to the UK and Europe. But the colours may well be different in your country. And again, if you're at all uncomfortable in this, in doing this, consult somebody else or get somebody else to do it for you. It's very simple and straightforward. We've fed the cable through into the lamp. We've pulled the lamp holder apart into its components. The base of the lamp holder needs to go through and be tightened up. So then we know, because this is metal, we need to get the earth wire, the earth cable, into this external fitting. So we need to trim that back quite a lot to fit that in. With the lamp holder base removed, I can trim the wires to length and strip the insulation from the ends. Then refit the lamp holder base, and with the help of some long nose pliers, fit the earth or ground cable to the external connector. And with that secured, I'm using the pliers to help me connect the live and neutral wires to the lamp holder, and then fitting the lamp holder to the base securely with the threaded collar. So the other thing for us to do now is to wire the plug at the other end. This is a 3-pin British plug, so yours will most certainly vary if you're not in the UK. Again, it's very simple, very straightforward. 3 screws for a live, an earth and a neutral. The live, the brown wire in the UK, always goes to the fused side. Plug has a 3 amp fuse for a lighting circuit, by the way. Screw that down nice and tight. Then we can settle all the pins back in. Make sure the cable is held in the strain relief. And then we just double check that these terminal screws are nice and tight. And we're happy with that. Pop the cover back on. and I'm adding some self-adhesive felt to the base just to keep things tidy. Ooh, so there we are, that's our lamp pretty much finished. I've given it a second coat of wax. It's all looking pretty nice. I'm using a lampshade that I already own. Now if you wanted to go the whole hog on this, you can make one, of course. You can buy these little metal inserts and then sort of make the frame up yourself, or have one made. I'm just using one I already have. And with a lamp in there, we should, and fingers crossed, that should be all systems go. Yeah, success. So yeah, nice simple little lamp base to make from scraps. Again, I think I said at the start of the video, or certainly the video series, I've made this out of birch plywood and Meranti because it's relatively cheap and plentiful. I've certainly got plenty of birch ply offcuts. If you have something nicer, then by all means use it. You know, I was thinking maybe alternating light and dark hardwoods, maybe in stripes, or varying the thicknesses. I mean, there's a whole host of different things you could do with this. But I hope you've enjoyed this little video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it out amongst your friends, and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Or hey, just check back when there's always something new at noon on a Friday. See you then. Take care.